Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We always love it when you guys share what's on your mind. And recently, some of you have been talking about FSC-certified notebooks and stationery. It's clear you're really giving thought to the choices you make when you buy stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it's great to see that.
yeah, for sure. And that's why we're diving deep today into what that little FSC label really means and why it might be even more important than you think.
Yeah,
So we've gathered some great articles to unpack this whole thing. And yeah, we're excited to get into it.
me too.
Okay, so first things first. What exactly are we talking about when we say FSC certification?
Well, FSC stands for the Forest Stewardship Council. And it's basically this global organization that sets the standards for how forests are managed responsibly worldwide.
Okay.
So when you see that FSC logo on something like a notebook, it's like a seal of approval. It's a guarantee that the paper comes from forests that are managed in a way that meets certain environmental, social, and even economic standards.
So it's not just about, planting a tree for everyone that's cut down. It's like a bigger picture thing.
Right? It's way more than that. Right. There are these comprehensive principles that forest managers have to stick to even get certified by the FSC.
Ah,
And that includes things like protecting all the different types of life in the forest, making sure the water's clean, respecting the rights of people who live nearby, and making sure workers are treated fairly. It's a really holistic approach.
so for those of us listening, let's say you're standing in the aisle at the store looking for a new notebook. Why should that FSC logo make you stop and look twice?
Well, if you care about where your stuff comes from and want to support companies that are doing things the right way, FSC certification is like a good sign.
Okay.
It gives you that confidence the product you're about to buy has sustainability at its heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does that mean exactly? Like, what are we actually talking about when we say sustainability in this context?
Yeah.
Our sources highlighted some key things.
Yeah, so first up is sustainable forestry, which is really all about managing forests in a way that protects the environment itself, the animals that live there, the water sources and everything, making sure they're around for the long haul. And a big part of that is reforestation,
Right.
planting new trees to replace the ones that are harvested. It's a constant cycle of renewal.
So it's not just taking. It's making sure those forests can thrive in the long run.
Right, exactly.
What else do we have on that sustainability checklist?
Another really important part is social responsibility. So this makes sure that the people who live in and around the forests and the workers who rely on them are treated fairly.
Mm-hmm.
It's about things like ensuring they have good working conditions, making sure they get fair wages, and that those communities actually benefit from the resources in a sustainable way.
So it's not just about the trees themselves, it's about the people who depend on them.
Exactly. It's about respecting the whole ecosystem, both natural and human.
I like that. And then the third element of this is environmental protection.
Yes, environmental protection, which really focuses on safeguarding biodiversity. So
Exactly.
keeping all the different plants and animals that make up the forest thriving. And that actually ties into climate change as well, which is obviously a huge issue.
Okay, so how does responsible forestry connect to something as big as climate change?
Forests are amazing. They're like natural air purifiers.
Mm.
They absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which is a major contributor to climate change.
Yeah.
So when you choose FSC-certified products, you're supporting the management of these forests, which are like giant carbon sinks. They suck up that CO2,
Right.
and it also helps reduce deforestation, which is another big source of emissions.
Okay.
So by choosing FSC, you're basically saying, hey, I want to keep these vital carbon-absorbing forests healthy.
So let's break it down for our listeners. What are the direct environmental benefits they're contributing to when they choose that FSC paper?
Well, first off, you're helping to protect wildlife and all the diversity of life in the forest.
Mhm.
FSC-certified forests are managed in a way that supports all sorts of different creatures and plants. So that cute little notebook is actually helping protect animal habitats and keeping all those species thriving.
It's like a chain reaction. You buy a notebook and it helps an entire ecosystem.
Exactly. And then there's the fight against deforestation.
Yeah.
When you choose FSC, you're saying no to paper that came from clear-cutting or unsustainable logging practices.
Right.
You're choosing a product that comes from a system that wants to keep these forests healthy for the long haul.
And of course, as we mentioned, you're contributing to reducing those carbon emissions.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's huge for tackling climate change.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about the importance of protecting water and soil.
Hmm.
FSC forest management practices really prioritize keeping water sources clean and the soil healthy, which is good for the environment and for the people who live in and around these areas.
Okay, so now for the practical question that might be on everyone's mind. Are these eco-friendly notebooks actually any good? Are we talking flimsy pages and scratchy writing experiences?
That's a really good question. And honestly, you don't have to sacrifice quality for sustainability when it comes to FSC-certified products.
Okay.
The articles we read were clear about that. They're just as durable and smooth as any other notebooks out there.
So the manufacturing process is the same. It's really about where that paper comes from that makes the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. The paper-making process is pretty much the same. But the origin of that wood pulp is where the real difference lies. You're getting the same high-quality writing experience, but with the added bonus of knowing it came from a responsible source.
I like that. So let's bring this all back to our listeners and why this should matter to them personally.
Sure.
When you choose FSC-certified products, you're making a statement. You're supporting sustainability in a real, tangible way.
Yeah.
You're contributing to a healthier planet with every purchase you make.
Right. And it's not just some vague idea. Each purchase is a vote against deforestation and all the environmental damage that comes with it.
And you get quality you can trust. You don't have to settle for something that's not going to perform well just to be eco-conscious.
Right. And you also get transparency.
Yeah.
With FSC certification, you can trace the origin of that paper all the way back to the forest it came from.
Right.
It gives you that peace of mind that you're not supporting dodgy practices or exploitation.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the social impact. This is also about supporting those local communities that depend on these forests.
For sure. Your choice helps make sure they're being treated fairly, their rights are respected, and they can continue to benefit from the resources in a sustainable way.
Now let's tackle some of those practical questions that might come up. Does FSC certified automatically mean recycled paper?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
FSC certification is really focused on making sure new forest resources are managed responsibly. So that's the same as recycled paper. But if you're specifically looking for recycled content, keep an eye out for the FSC recycled label. That means the product is made from 100% post-consumer recycled fiber.
Okay, so two separate things, but both under that FSC umbrella.
Exactly.
What about when you're done with your FSC certified notebook? Can it be recycled like regular paper?
Absolutely. FSC certified paper is recyclable, just like any other paper.
Right.
It's designed to be eco-friendly from start to finish.
Yeah.
But it's always a good idea to check your local guidelines to be sure.
Right.
But generally, yeah, check it on the recycling bin.
Great. So where can you actually find FSC certified notebooks and stationery? Where should our listeners be looking?
Well, the good news is they're getting easier and easier to find. Most big office supply stores carry them now. And you'll probably find a good selection at bookstores and specialty paper shops, too. Online retailers like Amazon are also a good bet. Just look for that FSC logo on the packaging or search specifically for FSC-certified products when you're browsing online.
Okay, so keep an eye out for that little tree logo. It means something. One of the sources we looked at actually mentioned a specific company, Lion Paper. What can you tell us about them?
They're a company that really puts FSC certification front and center. They claim to have this huge range of FSC-certified notebooks, planners, and stationery, all sorts of stuff. And they're big on making it affordable, too.
Okay.
They seem to really believe that sustainable choices should be accessible to everyone, not just something for a niche market.
So they're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the key takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the main point is that choosing FSC-certified notebooks and stationery is a really easy but effective way to make a difference.
Yeah.
You're not sacrificing quality, you're not breaking the bank, but you're supporting sustainable practices and contributing to a healthier planet.
It's like a win-win.
It is.
That FSC logo, it's more than just a pretty design. It's a symbol of a commitment to protecting the environment and making sure the people involved in the whole process are treated fairly.
Right. It's about making sure those forests are there for generations to come.
So next time you're shopping for paper, think about that little FSC logo. It might seem like a small thing, but as we've learned, those small choices can add up to make a big difference for our planet and the people who rely on it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of FSC certification.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.